like I said, we getting down to the bottom of this. Comment down below if you ever had a man to love you at your worst and still uplift you. That's what she said her man did.
He loved me like I was at my best. And I was mentally ill because you're in this business. Everybody thinks you are the hero. Consideration can be thrown out the window. Patience can be thrown out the window. Because when you get home, you believe that I'm the breadwinner. And what I say is what goes. And this is what it is. And this is my third marriage, though my first. Because this is the first time I've known my place as a black man's wife. And there's a place. And we get so caught up in that word. What you mean, your place? What you mean? Without him saying it, his actions showed me that he was the leader of that household. Without him saying it, I knew I was dealing with a king.
And he doesn't have to constantly remind you of it. He's never. When we first got together, I sat at the head of that table. Comfortably. There was never a conversation about it. Till one day I knew I was in the wrong place. And I moved to the side of the table. And he sat at the head. We never had a conversation about it.
He just did it.
It just happened because it was supposed to. So when people question my husband and why is he there, you would hope you would have one like that. I remember our beautiful sister Tiffany Haddish did an interview with GQ magazine. And this, in my humble opinion, is where we keep throwing each other under the bus. You're doing an interview with GQ magazine, and I'm assuming the journalist was a white person.
Okay.
And the conversation turned to Monique. And she said, well, I don't do business like Monique do business, and I'm glad I don't have that husband of hers.
But she don't know your husband.
And when I saw that, it's like...
But if a lot of people are saying a lot of negative things about her husband in the industry, of course, one can assume that they know them. If she been hearing a lot of spicy things about her husband, it makes sense that's why I don't have that husband of hers. It makes sense because somebody's out here is telling the world or telling the people behind the scenes that her husband is no good for her and that she need to get rid of her husband and she need to change management because he probably standing for something that he believes in her and they don't like that. That's all I can get from it.
If you had a husband like mine, you may not have 2 DUIs. If you had a husband like mine, you may not be caught up in what looks like you could have been grooming a child. And I say all of that with no judgment.
Yeah, y'all remember that.
Speak about having a husband like mine, you open up the door. And I'm saying to you, if you had one like mine, you may not sit in these positions that you can't explain the next day.
Right.
Or it's a hard way to go. So once again...
Well, she doesn't even have a husband, let alone like yours.
Well, damn it now. You said it. I sipped on that, Shannon. That was a sip. That required a sip.
You, Moesha. How did that come about?
Moesha?
Yeah. You had an audition for Moesha, right?
No, sir.
Hold on.
No, sir.
You didn't get on Moesha?
I did. I say this not to be, but I never auditioned.
What?
I've never auditioned. They've called, I think I thought I was auditioning for a Burger King commercial, but what it really was the agency I was with at the time, just trying to blow smoke.
Right.
You know, making me think I'm doing something.
Right.
But to audition, when I first came to Hollywood, I told this guy named, I believe his name is Mark Unray, and I told AJ Johnson, and I told a sister named Kimberly Brooks. I said, I'm not auditioning. And they was like, okay, like your fat ass. You not auditioning? Okay, fat ass, we'll see. That's what they did. They laughed. But I meant that. I'm like, what you see is what you get. I am not going to, especially now. Especially now. Why?
So how she get these leads? How she get these roles if she ain't never auditioned? We need answers. When did her husband come in the picture? Her current husband. When did he come in the picture? Who allowed this to happen? Who allowed her to get these roles without auditioning? It's something that's not adding up.
What I audition when I've got the highest award that you can get in this business called acting, and why would I do that?
Right.
Because once I do that, I devalue me. If you can't look at my work and say that's what we want, then no, thank you.
Right.
Like they'll call, they'll send emails and they'll say, "What's Monique availability?" None of your business. I don't know you, so you just gonna send an email and want to know what's my availability. I'm offer only. I am offer only. So again, we got to be careful what we say yes to. What Sidney Poitier say? It's not how many times you say yes.
How many times you say
It's
no?
how many times you say no. And the moment our baby auditioned, they got set up for no trailers. They got set up for no food. They got set up for no drivers. Because now in their mind, they think you're desperate.
Right.
So when Oprah does the one-on-one with Taraji and she begins to run down her credits, the great Taraji P. Henson, then why ever would you allow the audition to happen? Why ever would you allow?
Because now you playing in my face.
Why wouldn't you go to that studio and say,
She doesn't have to.
she doesn't have to, I handpicked them. So either our sister's not as powerful as we believe she is, or either there's not the concern that she tries to make it look like it is.
But you turn a couple of appearances on Moesha into the Parkers.
This is how the Parkers happen. Normally you shoot a pilot.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And the pilot, they decide whether or not they're going to do the show from the pilot. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Countess Vaughn and I, when I go to a meeting with a guy named Larry Little at Big Ticket Television, and at the time my agent was a woman named Susie Unger. They're trying to sell a talk show.
Yes.
We have a meeting. He says, listen, I don't need her to do a talk show, but if she can act, she has her own show. My agent said, of course she can act. Well, she didn't know if I could act or not, but I said, damn it, of course I can act. They brought Countess Vaughn into that meeting. That was at 1 o'clock. By that evening, they were negotiating the deal for the Parkers. The way they introduced the character, because they always talked about Kim's mother on Moesha,
Right.
they introduced Nikki Parker in an episode of Moesha, which was the pilot spinoff to the Parkers. There was never an audition. There was never any of that.
So now all of a sudden you got your own sitcom.
Shut up. Come on now.
You go home and you like, from Bmore, Maryland, from what I went through to this.
Yes.
Are you looking around like, damn it, I knew this day was gonna happen.
Yes. 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 And you know how you know something as a child? Like, did you know you were going to play professional?
Yeah, absolutely.
I still want to know how she get into the office. Like, I feel like we going too fast with her journey. We've seen her hop on stage, boom, boom, boom. What age, we don't know. To all of a sudden in LA, 3 months, boom, a whole show. The powers to be probably had her.
I knew it, Shannon. I knew it. Like, I knew as a child, and I say this humbly, I knew the world would know my name. Like, I knew that.
Right.
So once you in it, you be just like, I still can be in a supermarket and somebody say, Monique, is that you?
Yeah.
And I still can tear up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm here.
Right.
Yeah, she still
when I got
loved.
my first parking lot at the Parkers. I didn't know I had a parking space. And they would send out emails to say, if you're here for the Parkers, park outside the gate. That's how naive I was. When you asked me, was I naive? So I would park outside the gate. Even though I'm one of the stars of a show, baby, they said if you with the Parker, because there's no 101. There's no Hollywood 101. There's no introduction. They just say go and you're supposed to get it.
Yeah.
So I would walk across the parking lot all the way over to the set to the stage till a brother named William Tripp was in a golf cart one day. He said, Mo, what you doing? I said, going to the set. He said, why are you walking across the parking lot? I said, oh, because they said if you with the parkers, you got to park outside the gate. That brother laughed, but it was a brotherly laugh. He said, come here, baby, let me show you something. And I got on that golf cart, and he drove me to my parking space that had my name on it. That was a moment for me. Like I'm pulling up to a studio, and that's my name. That's the little fat black girl from Baltimore, Maryland, who was in the slow class. That's the little fat black girl from Baltimore, Maryland, who didn't have a lot of friends. A lot of people didn't want to deal with me. But
it's the fact that her agent, her manager didn't tell her this. Like, whose side was they on? I don't know. It don't sound like they was really for her.
Name on that parking space. Now, do you see why I fight like I fight? Because it's all possible. But what happens is we then lose ourselves in the possibility of what we're getting. And now we're too afraid to lose it. So all the principles, all the morals, all your values, they don't go away. You just push them to the side. Because you know what it's like not to have gas money. So I'll just, I just go ahead and do that a little bit. Right. My soul won't let me do that.
Why did you want to become famous? You asked me earlier, did I know that I was going to play in the NFL? And I told you yes, because I wanted to play in the NFL because it was going to get my grandmother and my family into a situation they probably would have never enjoyed without it.
Come on.
That was my driving force. That was all I thought about. Mo.
Okay. What was your driving force?
Situation. And what transpired? Why did Mo want to be famous so bad?
I'm a little fat black girl, baby. And ask another fat black girl. We fight for that attention. Because you wasn't the one picked on the playground to play kickball.
Right.
You wasn't the one picked for the spelling bee. You wasn't.
It seemed like she wanted people to eat their words about how she was never gonna be nothing, never gonna amount to nothing. That was her driving force. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to prove these people wrong. Oh yeah, you only see me as the fat black? All right, bet. Watch.
One picked for this. You wasn't the one picked for that. So I was like, one day. I'm sure you growing up, you had your challenges. Yes. You were a dark-skinned man. Yes. There was a time you stuttered.
Yeah, I wasn't always popping, Mo. Now that you brought it up.
Let's talk about it, Shay Shay.
It was the elder bars. You remember that?
Talk about it. Your hair wasn't curly. Your skin was bland.
Yeah, man.
Okay?
Yeah, now that you brought it up, I wasn't always
what
popping.
That is. So now to be that. Now to be that, now you got to be careful. Because you remember the time when she told you, no, I don't want to go out on a date with old Black Shannon.
Yeah.
Let me talk to her right now. Let me talk to your ass that wouldn't go out with Black Shannon. Now you wish you would have went out with Black Shannon that stuttered. Okay, you wish you would have went out with black stuttering Shannon Sharpe's ass. Now
Wait, hold up.
He got the Shay Shay show. I bet her ass up tough. I've been there. I've been there. So we understand it. You know, you understand that drive. You understand that thing in you that says, I won't let nobody stop me. Now, my drive wasn't that I wanted to get my family out of poverty because I've always grown up in a middle-class environment. Okay. So it wasn't that we were dirt poor. You know, we didn't have no whole lot, but I didn't look at it as we were in poverty.
Right.
For me, I just wanted to... I wanted the world to know me.
Yeah.
And then once I had a son.
She wanted to shit on him.
I was very young when I had my first son. I didn't want him to have to go to a college because that was all that my parents could afford. I wanted him to be able to do whatever he wanted to do. And there was a sacrifice in that. Right? Because when you're trying to go get it, you're missing this right here.
Oh, you miss a lot.
The nurturing. Yes. You miss all of that.
Yes.
So, you know, all of that had to be dealt with. So now with this group, with my second set of children, I'm a different mother than I was
with the first.
So my whole thing is, even right now, we want to make sure that when we leave here, our babies are good.
Right.
And their babies are good. And if Tyler Perry not told that lie, we would be on our way to that. And I know people saying, why she keep going back to that? I'm going to keep going back to that shit, Shannon Sharpe, till he takes accountability for it.
You going to take accountability, Shannon.
You said,
Tyler?
your first son.
Yes.
That you're trying to get it. but it robbed you of a lot of things of a mother-son relationship. And so you made sure not to make the mistake this time around. What's your relationship like? Is he resentful of that?
We're still very much separated.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where you have to pray to the universe and say, let time do the healing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Right.
That's it. Let time do that healing. It may heal it in time, and it may not.
Right.
And that's something that we as parents have to say, listen,
right.
I've done what I could do. I've taken accountability for it. Now it's up to you.
Right.
That's like when somebody's saying, Shannon, I want to apologize to you. Now it's up to you.
Whether or not to accept it.
Whether or not to, but once I give it to you, I've done my part. And don't apologize like no punk.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry for everything. That gets your ass out of it. No, break it down. Let's go bit by bit so that way we know you understand the offense that you've done.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying, because I've had to do that.
Right.
When I tell you I was so out of line and out of order when I first got with my husband, so out of order and out of line. And this has been my best friend since 10th grade. Since we were 14 years old. Mm-hmm. He came to the other weddings.
What?
It was like my brother.
Damn.
This man, he was like my brother.
He been out hustling you for a minute, Mo.
Damn.
You know, he wasn't. That's why it's so beautiful. Because we were like, we had a place together. He would see my boyfriend. I see his girlfriend. You know, then
you didn't feel some type of way?
This was my brother. This was literally my brother. And then if it wasn't my boyfriend, it might be another little fella.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was like my brother. We were
This is very interesting. You can't say that. You got to say something else. This was my homie, not the brother. Because now I look at you weird. It's like, you know.
Sister.
Right.
So the way it happened.
Yes.
It was so pure.
Tell me, and that's what I want to know now.
How did that transpire?
He came to you, say he came to wedding, you saw him have girlfriends.
Yeah, how did that transpire?
No, never been married.
How? How did it? I gotta know this. Because Hallmark need to do a story.
Baby girl, we got time. We got time. We good on time. Absolutely. I want you to say that again, and I don't want Hallmark, but okay, because this story is spicy, and I don't know if Hallmark can handle the spice of the story. So we've always been like brother and sister, right?
Don't say that.
He was the one I would call after a show when I was staying at a motel. And I'd be like, yo, they got me in this motel and niggas outside and everything. I'm scared. He'd be like, but one day you're going to be on the inside. Yeah. This is the same guy that we was going to the, like our little farmer's market in Baltimore. And I had a comedy club called Monique's in Baltimore. And the girl had on a Monique's t-shirt. And he says, one day, they know you only in Baltimore. But one day they're going to know you all around the world.
Yeah, he always believed in her.
Got it when we step off of a plane in London together. And the guy says, my wife knows I fancy you. And we went back to that moment coming out of that store in Baltimore. Where one day they'll know you all over the world. So he's always been...
Hey, he always been right by her side. You got to give him credit. Like, I don't know, what's the hate? Well, what's y'all hate that y'all got towards this man? He always believed in her when she didn't believe in herself, when she wasn't right in her head. Or not really right in the head, like when she didn't believe in herself, he always believed in her. It's crazy, but we gonna get down to the bottom of this.